If you asked yourself this evening, or the person next to you, do we have too many tiers of government in this country? Do we have too many politicians, too many bureaucrats, too many staffers? Most people would say yes. Well, this has been coming for some time, but it is now seemingly looking more likely that at the September election, that is still, 140-something days away, still less than 6 months, that there may well be a question that you mightn't quite expect, a referendum question about whether or not local government should be recognised in the Australian Constitution. Now, the simple idea here is that local government currently exists basically as a goodwill gesture almost between state governments and local areas. It is not recognised as a layer of government in the Constitution. Now, those who believe that it should be elevated to the same level of recognition as the Commonwealth government and the state government say that it is about making sure that there is an independent third arm of government. But there are so many more questions for me that come up, and so many questions that I don't think many people have debated, and certainly the advocates for this referendum question, which could well be on the ballot in September, that I don't think really have been engaged with. Most importantly, if you recognise local government in the Constitution, will that change the way that it can fund itself? Currently, there are rates, and that's basically the main way of doing it. There are the odd council levies, and we all know, regardless of whether you're watching me in the most distant part of the bush all the way through the biggest part of the biggest city, that your local council can make an awful lot of money out of things like parking fines. But if they were elevated to an equal arm of government as the federal government or the state government, will they still have to apply to a statewide body to increase their rates? Will they be able to introduce new levies and charges? Will they be able to come up with new levels of taxes? Also, local government has a very, very long history of wasteful and indulgent spending by the councillors themselves. Now, there is nothing more unpopular for Australians than politicians setting themselves off on junkets. Well, I want to show you just one example. Yes, it's one council and it's a small example. But do you want this stuff enshrined in the Constitution? A level of government where there's a council in Sydney called the Strathfield Council, and they wanted to spend $9,000 per councillor to go on a study tour of Europe. They decided to scrap that idea and they went with the cheaper version, which was $4,000 for councillors who wanted to go and visit their sister city. And that sister city is a place in Seoul in South Korea. Now, if we are going to have a serious conversation about the third level of government being recognised in the Constitution, should we not be talking about how it will be able to fund itself, what limits will be put on those sorts of wasteful spending? And I would have thought that the one thing that most people like about local government is that if it gets truly out of control, becomes too political, too partisan, or is frankly filled with too many local lunatics who want to hold up development, who want to fold and even approve developments that normal people don't want, or they just become so damn dysfunctional because the mayor hates the deputy mayor who hates the person who wants to be mayor, that that council can be struck off by your local state government. Now, this could well be coming. A vote on this could well be coming in September. And why would anyone want to change the current system? What is so flawed about the current way that it works? A federal government, a state government and a local government. Ask yourself, if you think there's too much bureaucracy, if you think there's too many politicians, should we be voting to enshrine for all time councils? Councils that are often too big, too bloated and focus on a whole lot more than simply rates, roads and rubbish. In one case alone, again, I'm sorry to talk about it, but it's the one I'm aware of. Sydney City Council wants to spend $9 million tarting up one street that's about 800 metres from where the Lord Mayor lives. The cost of one hedge alone is about $1 million. This sort of wasteful stuff, I don't know whether I want to lock that in to the Constitution when you look at the waste that's there in the federal government and the waste that's there in state government. I look forward to being convinced otherwise, and if you've got a great reason why local government should be locked into the Constitution, hit me up on Twitter, okay? @PMOnAir is the way to get in touch with me, and use the hashtag of PM Live if you are here on Twitter.